Hi and welcome to this week's episode of Forge, which is focused on revenue growth and enterprise. And in this bite-sized episode of my learnings as a managing director for over 2 decades, which is what Forge is about, it's me sharing things that I've learned as an MD for over 20 years. And one thing I want to share with you today, it's about people who are solopreneurs, who are running their own businesses and are working in businesses rather than on businesses. And it's one of the key things that I try and share with people when I start working with them is that for their business to grow, they need to be a marketeer of the business rather than just a doer within the business. Because it sounds simple when I explain it, but as it says on the screen right now, you need to be a marketeer of your business rather than a doer within your business. And the difference is astronomical, and I know it makes sense when I explain it, but we need to make sure we actually take action and do it. If we look at a mechanic that I was working with this week, he's a great mechanic, fantastic mechanic. He's even worked on some of my cars a few years ago. And he is brilliant with a spanner in his hand. And his garage turns out some amazing results and he can fix almost anything. But unless he markets that ability to the public, nobody knows how good he is. And the belief that just because I can do something, people will come. Well, that worked for Walt Disney. Build it and people will come. It worked for him. He's one of my business heroes. He's on my wall of fame in our training room. But it doesn't work for everybody. And unless you take time out of your business to become a marketeer of it rather than just doing the do within it, you will struggle to move marketably forward year on year. You may get some organic growth because once a customer comes, in the mechanic's case, if he looks after them, one would hope he would pick up the services and the MOTs, etc. And it would grow quite slowly. But my advice on this Forge episode for somebody who is running their own business is that you take out at least 10% of your working week and commit that to marketing your business to your ideal client. Now, if you are carving out 10% of your average working week, even on a full-time basis, that's only 4 hours. And if you work in your business part-time, 20 hours a week, for instance, you're only carving out 2 hours a week to market your business to other people. So 10% is the bare minimum that anyone who is running their business should be devoting their time to, which leaves you, I would suggest, 80% of your time is working in the business. And then there's another 10% to do the admin that's required to run it. That gives you the full 100. But people become so engrossed in doing the do of the business that they operate, they fail to become a marketeer of it. And that is the bite-sized piece of advice that I want to share on this week's episode, that you need to become a marketeer of your business, not just a doer within it. And the results speak for themselves, because I've worked recently with one client, I won't name who they are, but they came to us 18 months ago and their business was running at about 60% capacity. And it was still a decent sized company. But it's been in business 11 years. And I challenged that business owner that you've been in business 1 year 11 times because you only grew in the first 12 months. And then you have stayed at that level for over a decade. But you are at 60% occupancy of what your business can do. So when we encouraged that person to put 10% of his working week into marketing, he started to see really rapid growth. To the point now, 18 months later, his business is running at 97% occupancy. He's looking at buying new premises to expand even more. And he now is 50% of his time is on marketing his business. And he's brought people in to do the do within the business, and because the business has grown, that's allowed it to have the funding to pay the wages to do that. But the switch in 18 months has moved his business from 3 million to well over 5 million turnover. Now don't just ignore the noughts, it doesn't matter. The growth is tremendous. But that could be £3,000 to a £5,000 turnover if it was a small cottage industry. Ignore the noughts on there. It's the percentage growth that I want you to focus on. And the growth has happened in that guy's business because he stopped doing the do and started marketing what it is that he does. And I can't labour that enough, but there's a real live example of what happens. So what's on the screen now is my bite-sized learning in this Forge episode for my 2 decades over 2 decades now as a managing director, is become a marketeer of your business, not a doer of your business. And when you get that right, your business will take leaps and bounds forward. Hope that helps. That's it for today on our Forge episode, and I will hopefully see you next week.